Orgasmic enlightenment, where the sexual and spiritual come together. I'm Kim Anami, and I'm a holistic sex and relationship coach and a vaginal weightlifter. In this show, we explore all things intimate. I believe that our sexual energy is life force, creative energy, and we can use it to shape our worlds, strengthen our relationships, and self-actualize. I blend the most avant-garde information from neuroscience, ancient sexual practices like Tantra and Taoism, to renegade wellness modalities to show you how to create gourmet sex in your lives. Come one, come all. 60 rich and ass-fucked across Alabama. In Anami land, everything is possible. Women are multi-orgasmic, lubricating and ejaculating into their 80s and shooting vaginal ping pong balls across the room. Men have hours-long stamina, multiple life-changing orgasms, and can separate orgasm from ejaculation at any age. Last week in the Squirting to Manifest Your Life episode, I spoke with Tia. At 22 years of age, she is our youngest well-fucked all-star and a total legend. We have had 70 and 80-something women and men take my salons, including a 72-year-old widower who came to one of my Bali retreats back in the day. He was studying Tantra because he wanted to be able to take everything to the next level with his new love. He'd been married for 50 years, his wife had recently passed, and he was on the path to find the next love of his life. I adore these stories and these attitudes of it's never too late to be well fucked and blissfully happy. Today's all-star is Michelle. At the age of 60, she left a stifling 40-year marriage. A year later, at age 61, she is the most well-fucked she's ever been in her life. I love hearing when people have the courage to leave something that deep down they know isn't good for them. Despite finances, social standing, children, public opinion, they do it anyway. If you find yourself in a situation where you aren't sure if you have what it takes to propel yourself into a new life, this episode is for you. This woman is wild as fuck and has some of my favorite sexual descriptions that I've ever heard. Well fucked all-stars. Hi, Michelle. I'm so glad to have you here today.
I'm really happy to be here too.
You have such an incredible story of your later in life, total about face, evolution, up level to the highest heights. So tell us, where were you and where are you now and how did you get there?
Okay, I'll make it as brief as possible, but yes, I am a 61-year-old woman. I was married for 41 years and ended in divorce in May of 2023. So
you are recently out of this very long-term 4-decade relationship.
Absolutely. So May of 2023, that was it for me, right? And so, yes, and I met him when I was 16 years old. And so I really knew nothing else in my whole adult life. And I stayed because the story sounded really good. I had 3 beautiful girls. I had my husband's a doctor, and, it just seemed like the greatest life. And, and you're going to stick with that, right? Because, I'm not a quitter. I'm going to stick to anything that if it seems like it's going to work. But, I did sacrifice a lot of my own being to be with this man. And I did not realize how much I gave up to be with this person. So after enough, I just finally walked out on a few days before Christmas in December 2022 to try to be okay. I got very sick. I don't think I might not have mentioned that, but I got very sick. I lost 30 pounds in probably less than about 4 months. Was having like abdominal spasms and, laying on the ground, heaving for 30 minutes at a time. I knew my body was trying to tell me there's something wrong. And when you stay around for that kind of trauma for year after year after year, you don't even recognize that something you're dying inside. And I literally think I was dying inside. And I knew the only way I was going to save myself was to get the fuck out, totally. And I did. I walked out. It's probably the bravest thing I ever did. I left him the house. I left him, his mother also lived there. It was just like, I'm gone. I'll see y'all later. I can't do this anymore. The tears were not done yet. I mean, I was very sad. I was very lost. I had never been alone. I'm from a family of six girls. I have five sisters. We're all very, very close. And so I'd never been alone in my entire life. And now I'm alone. And I'm terrified. I'm now the breadwinner in our family. So I'm thinking I'm not sure what's going to happen to me. So, I filed for divorce and ended up being the one to get to pay him alimony, which was a horrible thing for me to have to know that I had to do. And I owe him big time for the next 3 years because the more I worked, the less he worked. And he's the one that's educated with this being a doctor. And I'm like, I cannot believe that I ended up in this place, but I did, and it's okay. But that's kind of where you came in. For me, I met somebody that I actually knew this person for years. We worked together and we both were at a place where we just wanted somebody to love on us. I just wanted to be loved on finally. And we weren't thinking, oh, this is going to be some kind of a serious relationship or anything like that. But, sometimes when you fuck around, things happen.
Fuck around and find out. You heard that expression? Fuck around and find out.
Oh boy, it was different. It was on a level that I had never experienced before in my life. I was like, what the hell is this? I was like, wow, it's like everything's firing off. And honestly, my marriage, I will tell you the truth. I honestly didn't think I could leave my husband because we actually had a decent sex life. Like the sex was good, but looking back at it, it was mechanical. It was because I had a need to have a dopamine fix every day. It was the one thing in my life I could count on. I'm going to get fucked and I'm going to feel good and it's going to be okay. And he can do that for me. I didn't want to go because of that. That's sad. Especially when I met Chris, I was like, well, damn, there's more to this than just the dopamine fix. I just didn't understand that. And, I think I masturbated like almost every day just to get myself ready to go to work. It was like part of my routine. And
that's amazing, though, that was intact within you, despite whatever else was going on in your relationship, that you were still connected to that part of yourself and using it really in the Anami way of fueling yourself.
Absolutely. I would have a meeting scheduled for 10 and I didn't give a shit if it was a quarter till 10. And I wouldn't leave in the house till I masturbated. I got myself to feel at least like I can do this. I can do this. And it worked. I mean, high energy. I mean, like I said, I'm very successful at what I do. And I have to attribute it to my energy that I get from that. It just makes a huge difference. But back to this new thing, it was like, wow, we were doing things with each other that were so comfortable. The first time we had sex, I remember, it was like going on for a couple of hours or so. And it was like, man, we're just fucking like, what's going on here? Like on and on and on. It wasn't like we're going to have sex and then we're done, then we're going to part ways. It was like this whole session of, I think we tried everything that first day. At the very end, and I'm tall, I'm like 5'8". And you said this, that certain people fit each other. So yeah, he fit me very, very, very nicely. And I remember he grabbed me, he flipped me over like on my stomach, like we're almost dead here, but I'm going to do this. He ass fucked me like I had like never been ass fucked before in my life. I laid there and I thought, well, damn, I don't even know what to say, but I'm all in. I'm doing this. This is a guy that knows I'm a woman that has a lot of testosterone. I need to be taken. I need to be made to feel like, you know what? I can be in charge of you. You don't always you have to be in charge. I love that. I could not believe that he did that to me. I was like, wow. So I kind of snickered. I was like, I'm all in. I'm done. You're it, buddy. And so, of course, getting back together, we started doing things and we didn't understand this whole 2-hour fuck sessions or 3 hour fuck sessions. We're like, why? And we didn't even have to come. We're fucking. And it was just like, and we grew more and more intimate, and things just started connecting. And, it'd be like, and I have to tell you, I have lots of hangups. You have no idea how many. Number one, wouldn't swallow cum ever. I'm married for 41 years, would not swallow, claimed it gagged me. Number two, can't come in the mornings. That's not going to ever happen. Of course, you gave me some advice to a well-fucked woman, and I actually took it. And guess what? I come in the morning, not once, but twice now sometimes. I'm telling you right now, I can do it. What else did I believe about myself? Oh, I can only have sex if I'd had several drinks. I mean, I had to, I just thought I had to loosen up to be able to have sex with this person, this husband of mine, that I would, I'd have to be at least somewhat lubricated. Oh, and it's thinking of lube. Let me tell you something right now. There was always a gallon of it by our bed. And now, Chris, all I have to do is talk to him on the telephone, and I'd stand up and there's like, I'm dripping down to my knees, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? It is absolutely amazing. So no, I don't need lube. I can have orgasms in the morning. I swallow now, and that was incredible. I never thought that I would, but you had said something. In one of your podcasts, because I started listening to them all. The first one that I ever listened to was because of him. He said he texted me because we've been doing all these things. I'm going, what's going on? Why? I've never heard of this before. He had never had it either, and so he found yours on if you're about leaving, if it doesn't, you talked about galloping. If somebody's not galloping with you, get the fuck out.
Right.
That to me, and I've listened to it going, that is so true. I get it. I see what you're saying. So yeah, so we were, and it was incredible to me. So the blowjob thing became a real thing. And I'm thinking, we started having like 1-2 hour blowjob sessions, and I'm loving it. I'm dripping on the bed. Like there's just, I ejaculate everywhere. I'm like, this is for me. This is not for you. This is for me. And that's what it became, is all about me, because it opened up everything. And it opened up a door to me being more sensual and more, I enjoyed, once we got to intercourse, it made it even more pleasant to me. But this is, I guess, let me go back to my trauma. So one of the things that I would do, like I told you, was lay on the floor, and I would like convulse for like 30 minutes at a time. And I didn't know what to do. I'd been to the doctor. They said, there's nothing wrong with you. But what you actually helped me understand was this vagus nerve thing that I didn't know anything about that, and how it's connected to your vagina and your brain. And so it's stomach, brain, and your vagina. I'm like, because once I started this relationship, I would have cervical orgasms, which I'd never had before. Thank you very much. I didn't even know what that was. And I would start sobbing, literally sobbing for 20 minutes. I couldn't stop sobbing. I had never had anything like that before my entire life. I didn't understand it. And he didn't understand it. He'd never had anything like that before. But what we realized was that was healing my anxiety, healing my body finally. It just all came together, that this sexual healing was what I had to have to recover from the trauma of my last 41 years. So, it's been very special, and it's been validating to know that, I'm not an anomaly. I think there's other women out there just like me that are saying, hey, I want to know I'm normal, and that maybe sex can fix pain and anxiety and give you a happier life and a better life.
Well, I love that your healing journey involved your sexual experiences, right? Like that you having transformative, powerful, rejuvenating sex helped to heal the decades in the relationship that you were in that weren't in your best, highest good.
No, it was unbelievable to think that you could, that I could end in an orgasm that was so amazing. Like he was touching me in a place that I don't think I'd ever been touched before. Now, he would love me to say, we did get the measuring tape out one night. I think it was about 9 inches. Okay, just saying. And his girth is huge. So it was like, oh, that's good stuff. So we're very playful. But just, we're just, because I'm like, where's this going? And when he fucks me, I remember asking him initially, I said, I remember being done and laying there with him and saying, what are you looking for? Because it was not just me. I was like, what are you reaching for? Because it was almost like a desperate, like he could not get there deep enough. It was an incredible need that I had. I was glad that I could give that to him, but it was so deep. And so he was touching places like inside the vagina that I had not discovered before. So the awareness that, the vagina is not just some hole. It's not a hole. There are nerves in there that it took me a while to figure out. It was like things were going crazy in there. And I was like, what is going on? I've never had this experience before. And so the cervical orgasm was probably the the biggest surprise that I had ever encountered. And I've been married for 41 years. We had a decent sex life. I guess all I ever had was a G-spot orgasm. I didn't know that, or a clitoral orgasm, which I find to be very, okay. It's not a cervical orgasm. So, but anyways.
Well, that's the beauty of them, is that they also help to change and propel your life forward. And then once you have them, you don't look back, right? Or if you do look back, you're like, whoa, I was on this steady diet of like starvation for all these years, and now I've eaten food, and look what it's doing for my life.
Well, it's ruined my life. In some ways, it's hilarious. I say that it says I ruined my life, but because when I masturbated before, it was just with a little, the vibrator, like it will blow that thing up. Now I'm so spoiled. I cannot just do that. I have to have something inside of me. It's like now I've got to go there. And I'll even wait now. Sometimes it's like, hell, I don't want to do that again. I'm gonna have some very nice glass, dildos, and they're fine, but not the same thing as like now I crave the real thing. I want to get fucked, and I want to have that. I want to go back there. You always want to go back to a cervical orgasm, and if you can be my age, because now I'm 61, and I'm telling you, it's never too late to go grab it. If you haven't ever had it, go see if you can get it, because it's worth it. I don't even think for 1 minute now that my life, oh my God, it's over. I mean, I used to think that. It was very sad. I thought, how in the hell could I walk away after 41 years? What are you doing? You're a fool. You're 60 years old. This is insane. Your life is over. Oh, hell no, it's not either. I take care of myself. I'm very sexual. I like to be pretty. I buy pretty dresses, pretty clothes. I want to be a girl, and I love being soft, and I love being soft for my man. That matters. It's not over. It's just the beginning.
So. Love that. So you've had these epic experiences with cervical orgasms. It sounds like you've had some transcendent askgasms and nipplegasms. Anything else you want to share about these orgasmatopia experiences?
Let's see. So I didn't know. I'm glad you brought that up, because I breastfed all three of my girls. It was like, until they all said, "Mother, may I please have another sip?" And I was like, sure. They were all talking by the time I weaned them. So my breasts really were for breastfeeding. I don't believe that I actually thought of them as a sexual thing at all in my marriage. I never even liked to be touched. And, so that is something that has come into play with us. I'm like, I had no idea that I could be so stimulated by breast stimulation. And I believe in part of the Well-Fucked Woman, one of the sessions that we had, where one of our salons there was talking about the nipples and the breast massage and all this stuff. And, if I'd have known that 40 years ago, I would have been a much happier married woman, maybe, at least on my side. I don't know if it'll fix the emotional stuff, but at any rate, I enjoy that now. Like, to have them in his mouth, or to have him, like, we could just be sitting watching TV, and I'm like, oh, Jesus, Mary and Joseph. Okay. If you don't stop that, I'm about to have a cup. Just the constant play. And it is absolutely amazing what you don't think you want. If you'll just let go of your inhibitions and just, surrender. You say that. You say that all the time, just surrender. And and that's what I had to do. I do like that. Why did I say no? Maybe we say no to things sometimes because we just said it. Maybe in my mind, it was my way to control my environment. I needed to control something. So if I could say, no, I don't want you to touch my breast. Well, then that meant that I had some control of my life. That was my trauma that I was trying to control. So I would say no to certain things, or no, I can't have an orgasm in the morning. So I would just let him fuck me and like, okay, we're done. It was all these no's that I told myself that were actually not really good for my well-being, but it was my way to control the circumstances that I was in that I absolutely had no control of. I lived in chaos. So, if I'd have to say no, I don't enjoy nipple stimulation. Okay. Oh, and you can fuck me like once a month. Okay. That's our deal. It was just not, sometimes it was a control thing, or most of the time it was a control thing. And I'm not proud of that, but I think women do that because they are frustrated. They're not happy in their circumstances. And if you just, if we open up and we listen to our bodies and we surrender, everything can be beautiful. The breast, the anal sex. I mean, I thought that was, I didn't know how to, I was embarrassed. Even when I had it in my previous marriage, I was embarrassed because I was like, that is so messy. What did we do with that? And, you got made it real last summer for me. You're like, it's going to be messy. I'm like, oh, other people experience that. I guess it's okay. And not worrying about what, if he is willing to do that to you, then what is wrong with that? If he's willing to like flip you over and fuck the hell out of you, so be it. He knows what he's getting into. It's not like he's going to be surprised that there might be, it could be a mess. I don't know. But, just to let it go and just enjoy it. Something else that we figured out last summer was like, and you kind of hit on that too. And both woman is, as far as like, what is sex really? It's all these things that we do with each other. They're not, it's not hetero and homo. It's all these sexual acts are just, they're interplayable. We experimented with something that I shoved up his ass one night last summer. And it was during our thing. I just wanted to, we had been talking about it. It was like, why not try it? And we had this conversation about how this is not like hetero or homo. This is just sex. And why can't it be fun? Why can't we just play this out and see what happens? So, I'm telling you right now, I was giving him a blowjob, shoved that thing up his ass. The unload that he experienced was beyond. I was like, holy shit, this is a lot, For some girl that had just started swallowing in like a few short months ago, I'm getting a load that is beyond a load. And it was like I must have hit something that had not been tapped into in a long time.
Right. If ever.
If ever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
To take away all the silliness of, should we do this or not? Or is this dirty? I think that we women live with a lot of like things that we're taught, like that's not very ladylike or whatever. Screw it all. When you're in the bedroom, everything's fair play as far as I'm concerned now. I can run around naked. We do that. We have this we call this, we've been doing this since we started messing around. Fuck Fridays. They're the best. We cannot wait till Friday. It's called Fuck Friday. By Wednesday, it's like we're on the phone. It's like, we got to hurry up. Fuck Friday's coming up. We can't wait. And we will like the whole weekend we spend in like naked, running around. We can fuck whenever we want to. We can do whatever we want to do. It's so liberating to just let go. Just why have hangups? It's just not worth it. And it's so much more fun when you can be playful.
Absolutely. I love your whole spirit of all of this stuff. You shared about how you went through, you had an experience where you had some contact with your ex and then you came home and your partner gave you some good fuck medicine. So I'd like you to explain that because, you've already touched on this, how you were able to process a lot of the trauma from your long-term relationship, through your current one, and through the deep, powerful, transformational sex you were having together. And so there was a particular instance where you said you got thrown off your game and then you came home and you got the medicine. So tell us about that.
Yeah. So again, I was having, I guess, panic, every time. I could hardly be around my ex-husband. It's at some point, really only until recently, but last summer in particular, I went to my granddaughter's birthday party, and he just triggered me so bad. By the time I got back to the house to be with Chris, I was so shaken up. I was out of, I was just in tears, and he let me talk it out. He's listened to all my fears, all my, my sadness. He just let me talk it out. And then he just took me by the hand and he said, we're going back here. And he took me to the bedroom and we took off our clothes and we proceeded. I'll tell you right now, I face fucking, I've never really had so much of that before. I got face fucked and I got fucked in the ass. And I'm going to tell you something right now. When it was all done, it was like, wow, there was just so much healing. And it wasn't, again, there seems to be stigma about those things, as if there's something, wrong with doing that. But I will say that day, I mean, I wanted to weep. I felt so cared for, so loved, that I didn't need to worry that I'm going to be okay. And it did change. It started changing things in me. And tell somebody that just goes and instinctively know this is gonna be really good for you, because I'd already said, I'd already been enjoying blowjobs. We were having 1 and 2 hour blowjob sessions, and I was benefiting from it. So he knew that. He also knew that I liked anal sex. I mean, it's like, let's go do the 2 things you love. And he did that, and it was wonderful. And so yeah, just it's very healing to have a partner that is willing to share in those intimate things with you, and to not feel like you're doing something different. It's all normal. We've normalized everything. There's nothing that is abnormal. Whatever he wants to do, I'm open to that. I've told him, I said, if you wake up in the middle of the night and you need me, please fuck me. Whatever you need, I'm there. And I mean that with all my heart. I mean, it happens, and it has happened. And it's very pleasant. So I'm okay with being woke up. I love it. We woke up at 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. It's just really sweet to have that kind of partner. And he does check all the boxes. I'll tell you what, having somebody that, intellectually, spiritually, physically, sexually, all these things that just match up, like there's something beautiful about it. My husband may have only possessed 3 of those things, and I didn't know there was more that needed to be connected on. There's a level. I guess there's so much oxytocin that occurs with us sexually, my Chris and I, that, and it's the dopamine. It's all these things that are firing off in us. It's just like, wow, it does make for amazing sex. And it does come from, like spending time with each other without the noise. I mean, and I will tell you that there's a lot of outside interferences. I think people put too much in their life without sitting outside for hours and watching the birds, which is what we do a lot. We just sit there, we talk. I think that a lot of people spend a lot of time trying to fill their time with dinner dates, going different places with other people, instead of just spending time alone and trying to figure out, who is this person? And so intimately, I think we know each other very, very well. I don't feel uncomfortable. He doesn't feel uncomfortable. And it's fun to, like Friday nights, I always come down to something really sexy and soft. And he loves that. But, maybe Saturday comes along and, he's in there cooking breakfast, and I've got my little house coat on. Next thing you know, I'm getting thrown over the counter, getting fucked. I love that. Why not be surprised? Who says it has to be in the bedroom? We've been on the back porch talking for hours, and I'll just take everything off. I don't even care what the neighbors say, and I'll just sit in his lap, fuck him right there, or grab him and take him in the house and fuck him right there. We don't worry about stuff like that. He'll be cooking dinner, which he's a great cook, by the way. It's amazing. I've never had somebody do that for me before. And he'll be ready, getting everything ready. And I'll just run in the bedroom, throw something really sexy on, and just come out. And he's like, wow. It's distracting, but it's so much fun. And we could spend hours playing around, me being sexy and beautiful and, messing with him while he's trying to cook and, dancing to great music. And we can do that for, it'll be 11 o'clock. We're eating dinner, but we started at like 4:30 or 5, just having fun. So I don't know. It's, sex is fun. Sex is great. It's not, you shouldn't be inhibited. You should enjoy it as much as you can.
Wow, you're so inspirational. It's so moving listening to you and your spirit and your full lack of inhibition and openness and the way you've just dived right into this new life and created this new life. It's incredible.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun. I don't know if, I did do your session last summer, your well-fucked woman, and I'm like, again, I do feel very well-fucked. It's just been an amazing journey to put everything that you teach into something that makes you feel like a normal person. Again, I thought I was a nymphomaniac for years. I thought, well, is there something wrong with me? Even my mother asked me, are you a nymphomaniac? Because I talk about sex all the time. I'm like, I think it's fun. I've always thought it was fun. I like that. I'm kind of a person that jokes about a lot of stuff. Okay. So I might have inappropriately said something in front of my mother. She's like, are you a nymphomaniac? I said, what's really wrong with that? And so I did start questioning myself. So being a part of, this whole thing it's exciting to know that, no, I'm not a nymphomaniac, that I'm actually normal and that I may have a higher libido than he does is even better. I'm like, yeah, so what? I've got the libido of more than a man, maybe. I don't know, but I like it. I like being me and I don't feel abnormal anymore.
So you noticed a correlation when you signed up for Well Fucked Woman with your business swelling, your income swelling, and we talk about that the more and more well fucked you get, the more your income goes up and the abundance and the opportunities just drop into your lap because your lap is what attracts them. So tell us about this.
Yes. So, I believe the session started like the 1st of July and I really got into it. I'm like, listen, I'm a brown noser. I'm gonna do the work. I'm not gonna, if somebody's gonna put something in front of me, I'm probably gonna study it. I'm gonna do it well. And I gotta tell you, I don't even know how I did the whole, 8-week session. I believe that's how long it was, and did the work that I did. So the month of July, I did like my GCI was like 100,000. I'm a real estate agent. So
what's a GCI?
That is your gross commission income, $100,000. Okay, that's what I brought in July. This last month, I made like $38,000. So that was a good month. People were high-fiving me. That's great. That's a good job. And maybe even 50,000 is pretty good. But to make $100,000 in 1 month is sensational. That is really amazing. And then even to do $70,000 in 1 month is really, really good. So you take 12 months out of the year, and if I would love to make $100,000 every month. That would be fantastic. I didn't do that. I don't do that on a regular basis. So I'm just saying the high energy that I experienced last summer just participating in Well Fucked Woman made all the difference in the world. I could do anything and everything while I was in that class. It was just fantastic. Just the mere focus of you're working on yourself. You're discovering things about yourself. And you're just going out into the world and it just attracts, things just come to you. And that's what happened to me. So it was fantastic. I was very, very excited. And I did very well for my entire year. So that was great too. But to produce that much money and being that intensely focused on what I was trying to learn and to just become a better version of myself. I'm like, you know what? I'm 60 years old. I am not going to let this pass me by. I'm going to understand all these reasons why I didn't believe in myself, why I felt like, why I was hung up on certain issues, why, even after I knew, I was being uninhibited with my partner, there were still these little things like that you can say to yourself, and you kind of helped me see that maybe I did think that, well, if I dress like this, maybe I am slutty, well, no, it's not slutty. That's just being, warm and soft and sexual for this person that you love. And so to try to just say, I'm going to address these issues now and finally, and I'm not going to go back to being the meek person. And I'm not meek, honestly. When I say that about myself,
Were you ever meek?
I don't know that I was ever that meek. I think I was a little bit about myself. I was the church lady. I did teach religious education for like 22 years. And so, but I was a fun teacher. I was fun. And I taught, sexual morality for a while. So I had all the do's and the don'ts down pat. Okay. I could teach that class from like, I knew it. But at any rate, so I had rules. I had all these freaking rules that I had to live by. I was very black and white. And it was as I got older and I got into my life and I decided that this is not working for me very well. That I decided that, I'm sort of letting go of those things. But I think finally going through Well Fucked Woman, there were things that I just let go. I mean, I had to be me. I had to admit, I'm a very sexual being. And some of this stuff is not, it's wrong thinking. It's stuff that was, a belief that was given to me that I should have never accepted. And it did prohibit me from being comfortable in my marriage with my my ex-husband. I'll say this, we played around with made videos and things like that. So I got a hold of those after the divorce. I make sure I got those videos. And I remember I had to watch them. I took my computer outside on my little porch, got a hammer, and I started watching them. I did. And I thought, that is a very mechanical looking, at the time, it's like, it felt good. I had an orgasm. Great. But the way that he approached me was very mechanical. The chemistry was not anything like what I'm experiencing right now. And it was very sad to me. And I thought, well, I wonder how many other women are out there doing the same thing that I did. Just, hoping if I can just get an orgasm, I'm going to feel a lot better. It's not about that. It's a whole body experience. It's a whole emotional, spiritual, sexual experience. It all should be, it should all be there. You shouldn't just have that one aspect of that sex life. And so it was kind of ugly. And so with great pleasure, I took a hammer to every one of those, those little cards and just beat the shit out of it and said, you know what, screw it. I didn't have it all. I thought I did. I didn't have it all. I had a story. It looked really good. Here's a pretty woman, 3 beautiful little girls. She's married to a doctor. Oh, we're just having a great, we're having a great life and everybody needs to know it. Well, it didn't. It wasn't a great life. It sucked and I didn't have it all. So, having this experience with, finding somebody that totally gets that this whole sexual experience, the sexual healing, it does matter. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to live a sad life. And it's not over just because you're 60. I don't care if you're 40, it's never too late. Just get up and do something different. You do not have to live out your whole life sad. I'm pretty confident. I am very, I do. I like being me. I am fun and adventuresome. And I'm totally a different person at this point. And I'm still being very successful financially. I pay my ex a considerable amount of money every month, and I'll have to do that for 3 years. And I'm down with year one is over. Yay. So, then I'm doing it. Bought a new house, making that alimony payment. And, I'm going to be okay. I feel charged, excited about life.
It's amazing. Your story is so inspirational. Is there anything else that you want to add?
I would just say, if you're settling, you might want to ask yourself why. And if your sex life is mediocre, you really want to ask yourself why. And if there's a lost connection, maybe there's hope. With that person that you're with, but you got to do the work. You cannot just accept the beliefs that you currently have without at least trying something new and removing those inhibitions and surrendering to the whole feeling that sex can give you. While I am laying there sometimes, and maybe I still have some fear and some sadness that I have to overcome. I'm not 100%, but I can hear surrender and I can let it go. I can completely surrender to my partner and be happy. And, you can do that. Don't tell yourself you can't.
I love it. It just brings tears to my eyes to hear you talk about all these things and to feel your exuberance and radiance. It's wild. It's wild because you have the spirit of a, I don't know, a 30 something, but you're the powerhouse with the wisdom of more decades than that. And, still like smashing out the transcendental orgasms.
That's incredible. That is like, I never ever thought that that would, if you've never had it, it is possible. I mean, it is understanding, the anatomy of your body. And I didn't understand it when it did happen by accident. It wasn't on purpose. I didn't know that it was even possible, but there are ways to learn how to use your body. There's one exercise that I did with the JDIC. And by doing that exercise, I'm telling you right now, I've been doing that to him. Holy crap, that man is thrilled to have that feeling of going all the way up to the end of his penis. And he's like, he is dying. I mean, we've had orgasms by me just doing that. I could do it like 10 times maybe. And the next thing you know, he's done because it is that fantastic. You have to know your body and you have to know what it's capable of so that you can have those experiences. And I'm thrilled that I get it now. So
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. And yeah, it's so infectious, your whole enthusiasm. Oh, you know what? I do have one question for you.
yes,
When, what was the final straw for you that made you leave? Like after being in it for so long and being at this stage of your life, like what was it that, impelled you like finally, okay, this is it. I'm going.
I recognized there was something missing, like a year, like about a year before I walked out. I was like, something's wrong, and then my body started reacting, and I started, like I said, losing all this weight and having these stomach issues where I wasn't throwing up, and there was nothing wrong except I was heaving, and I couldn't control it, and I think I just got to the point of, he's not hearing me. I mean, I don't even think he's listening to me. And, really I was just asking for God to give me clarity. I know I prayed like 2 weeks before I walked out the door. I said, God, I don't know how to get through this. This is very muddy and I'm very scared. And I said, just let me know, give me clarity. Let me know when it's time to go. And I remember I was laying in one of my girls' bedrooms and when I was heaving again, it goes on for 30 minutes. I was crying and I stand up and I hear this audible, you're done. I'm telling you right now, God spoke so loudly. It was like my whole body just shook. I was like, you're done. I'm done. It's like God answered that prayer. And he said, it was like, you're free to go, my sweet girl, just get out. And the next morning was when I just got up and called an attorney. I said, I'm out of here. But so I got to give God some credit for helping me hear his words and saying, you're done. And it was so loud. And I just was very specific. I just declared to God. He gave it to me. Get up, you're done. So,
Wow.
yeah.
I love that.
It was it's amazing. But yeah, then once I got out, you don't need anything either. That's the other thing I found out. It's like, how much do you really need to be happy? And so when you walk away from everything that you've accumulated for 41 years, it's just stuff. It really is. It's just stuff. And if you think that you'll never have anything, well, that's a lie. Life will go on. And, I'm definitely a better version of myself. Chris is a better version of himself because we have each other. I'm not the same person that I was. And did I contribute to some of the sad things in our marriage that my previous marriage? Absolutely. It was, it was because it wasn't a good relationship. We didn't match. And I'll say this, look, opposites don't attract. They shouldn't. They're curious about each other. But seriously, my husband and I were complete opposites. And I have found that like does attract like attracts like. That I believe that with all my heart. And we were never going to be okay in a married world. And I'm so glad that I'm this person that I am now. I am better. I'm a better version of me. Chris is a better version of himself because of all the things that we've done to help each other sexually, through sexual healing, through conversations, through just being more alike. So it's amazing.
You obviously have a really beautiful and clear, strong connection with God, spirit, energy, the universe, whatever people want to call it. Now, and you said that you had to do some processing of ideas that were perhaps put upon you about maybe what sex and God, that relationship is all about, or what God thinks sex ought to be.
My relationship with God is solid. I have no problems. I think that God is in all of us. And so, yes, my ideas have transformed over the years. Like I said, I taught for 22 years, but, and I still believe in God. I have a very strong connection with him. I'm not, quote, religious anymore. I believe my religion conformed me and made me stay in a relationship that was extremely unhealthy for me. And that did make me angry, but it doesn't make me not love my God. There's God in it, and again, I don't know, is he energy? Is he in human form? I don't know who he is, but he is with me. He does speak to me, and that energy is great. I think he's up there going, go for it. He wants us to be happy. He wants us to have the fulfillment of all the great gifts on this earth. A lot of the sex that we have is very heavenly, and it feels powerful. It feels good. Is God in it? Absolutely.
You've reached a stage where the way you talk and express yourself, I can just tell you've hit that well-fucked woman milestone of no fucks given, because you're giving all your fucks in bed, right? That's where all the fucks need to be given. None of them out in the world to random people. They don't deserve any of your fucks.
They don't deserve it. Absolutely not. And I would say, I just gotten to this place in my life where, I've cared so much about what other people think, and that care has caused me to stay in a mirrors that was very, very unhealthy. And then just learning to love myself enough to go, I really give a fuck what you think about me. I'm going to go out here. I'm just going to be me. Sometimes I'm crass. Sometimes I tell really stupid jokes, and I'll joke about sex when it's inappropriate if you're talking to your mother about sex, it's probably inappropriate, but I do it anyways. And then she may ask, are you a nymphomaniac? And I'm going to go, well, yeah, maybe I am. I don't know. I like sex, Mom. And, so it's kind of like, it's okay to be me. It's okay to laugh about things that I probably shouldn't laugh about, but I'm enjoying my life. I've got one life to live. If this is all I'm ever going to get, and if this is heaven, then I'm going to take it. This is it.
Love it. In the Well Fucked Woman Salon, which is my 10-week online signature program for women that shows you how to be well fucked at every age and stage, including menopause and far beyond, we cover much of what Michelle and I talked about. How you can be dripping wet just from hearing the sound of your lover's voice. How to surrender to activate your feminine magnetism and generate cash. My cock whispering secrets to ecstatic blowjobs, deep throating, anal play, and manual techniques to bring him to his knees. And of course, how to have the deeper vaginal orgasms, G-spot, squirting, and cervical, and much, much more. The salon begins next week. To sign up, go to kimanami.com, click on Sexual Savant Salons, and there you will find how to be a well-fucked woman. Thank you so much for listening. If you haven't already, subscribe and also leave a review. And send someone else the gift of a healthy libido and an off-the-charts love life by sharing this episode with them. We'll be back next week, and in the meantime, many happy orgasms.